What is the background story of Mawu Africa?
Mao Africa was we call it a COVID baby. So how it started about was we used to go to markets and we used to work with artisans. We used to sell fashion accessories. Basically, we used to be in the fashion business, but in retail. And we managed to develop a good relationship with artisans. So when COVID hit and there was restrictions in terms of travel, in terms of moving around, and how these markets works definitely through open air markets. So it's walking in. So the distancing that came with COVID definitely affected the businesses tremendously. So based on the relationship that we had with artisans, they reached out to us and they communicated that they were not making sales, their businesses were really suffering. So we saw this as an opportunity. Instead of buying, because they're not able to reach many customers anymore, we came up with the idea of creating a platform where we can be able to sell their items online, not only to local people but also to global customers. So that's how we started, by creating the very first website, which was mostly a retail website. So we used to get items from artisans, we photograph, and then we sell. And then this definitely grew with time, from being a retail website to the marketplace that it is right now.
What is one thing that most people don't know about Mawu Africa?
I'd say the one thing that doesn't stick out when guys learn about what we do is the financial services we have embedded on the platform. So as much as we're expanding market access for artisans and creatives on the continent, there's a huge issue when it comes to financial inclusion on their part, because the sector is largely informal. It's hard to get the KYC to verify their credibility or their credit worthiness. So one of the things we're trying to do to also grow these entrepreneurs in this sector is drive financial inclusion, offer them financial services that can be able to expand their businesses and their growth.
What does a typical day at work look like for you?
Wake up in the morning, have a brainstorming session, either individual or with your team, depending on what kind of day it is. Definitely have time to ourselves. It's always good to remember that as much as you're growing yourself in different dimensions, we forget to make time for ourselves. So have time to yourself, either meditate, read a book, and then get ready, make it to work if it's a work day. Come sit down, look at your calendar, plan out your day, make up your to-do list, and then start the grind. Sometimes it's a field day, so plan out your day, probably the day before who you're going to meet up, make calls on artisans you're going to meet. And so after getting ready, you get the ground running to the markets, to the places where they sell, to their workshops. Yeah, and at the end of the day, come back, check off what you did on your to-do list. And yeah, that's what a typical day is for us at Mao.
An exciting milestone that you have managed to achieve as a company?
I'd say last year and this year has been super exciting for us as a business. First of all, we rebranded. So we rebranded from Muthoni Unchained to now Mawu Africa, and it's that transition from moving from being an e-commerce website to an e-commerce marketplace, and wanted to envision that and tell that story in a way that encompasses what we're doing as a business. And then I think the other biggest milestone we'll say has been rolling out QR codes to artisans in the market. So right now, if you go to Masai Market, whether at Village Market or at the Junction, at the Hub, you'll find artisans with QR codes. It's very easy to access their online storefronts. It's very easy for you to refer their shops to your friends and your family. So I think that's what have been the most exciting milestones we've had as a business.
What is your unique selling point?
I think Jenniffer alluded to it when she was talking about financial services. So over and above us expanding market access, I think one thing that is characteristic of our stakeholders, who are the artisans, is that they are majorly unbanked. So the current standard financial services available in the market do not really fit to them, or they cannot afford them. So what we've done is to tailor financial services such as loans, insurance. Insurance is something that most of them don't really have, and savings as well. So being able to extend these financial services to this industry is really lacking, and that's one thing Mao is really looking to do, is already doing, and looking to really take a front foot towards solving the current problem they have of financial inclusion.
In light of this year's International Women's Day, #BreakTheBias, as a woman founder, have you ever had an instance where you had to implement this so as to propel your business forward?
Yeah, we are actually going through that right now. I'd say for any female founder, especially us being a business that is fully owned by females and run by females, it's been very hard to fundraise. There are a lot of barriers when it comes to fundraising as a woman founder. Most of them are based. The basis of that sometimes does not make sense. Why maybe women cannot handle stress, or women should not be running businesses, or women should not even be running tech businesses in the first place. So the challenge we've given ourselves this year, because we're in the middle of fundraising, is raising a crazy round, and then being from female founders, just to show other female founders that it's very possible to raise funds. And it's also to show investors that, yeah, female entrepreneurs matter, female entrepreneurs are capable of change, and female entrepreneurs are here to stay and are here to innovate.
E-commerce businesses, for most part, have thrived during the pandemic, with most things shifting to digital. Has that been the case for Mawu Africa?
That's definitely our case. I mean, that's how the idea of coming up with this whole business started. So definitely we will say that e-commerce has really thrived. What we've seen in terms of the trade of these culture outputs moving online has really increased. Not only within Mao, even outside, people have really embraced social commerce, buying through social media pages, basically buying online. So I will say definitely the growth of e-commerce has really helped to propel the business and to grow the business.
What do you love the most about your business?
I like saying this, the connection with artisans and creatives. These guys have amazing stories. These guys are gifted. These guys they have, we like to call these traditional techniques that are passed down. So you'll find an artisan who does jewelry, probably the father did jewelry, the grandfather did. It's like a family business, and they pass down these techniques, and they're so unique, and they're so beautiful in the way they perform their work. So I think that's the most exciting thing about this business, just being in that creative space, seeing them do their thing, seeing them excel in their thing. It's amazing. It's really amazing.
What has your experience at Nairobi Garage been like?
I will say it's been great. It's been amazing. I think it's exceeded our expectation. For us, moving from working from home to moving to a co-working space that's not only space, but also a place to network, a place to grow, a place, and definitely just a good working environment. So it's been amazing. We've been able to connect with fellow co-founders, fellow female founders. We've been able to meet, we've been able to network and make partnerships through Nairobi Garage. And we've also been able to start our fundraising processes and networking through Nairobi Garage. So I would say our team has been pretty much great. We better get the next round of funding so that we can get a bigger office.
Yeah,
yeah, but generally it's been really amazing.
What does the future of Mawu Africa look like? I like speaking about the future of Mawu because right now we've just focused on the handicraft sector. We are creating a platform to elevate the guys in that sector. But when you look at the culture and creative industry in Africa, it's huge. There's film, there's music, there's literature, there's so much. So our hope is that we can replicate the same model in these different sectors. If it's financing musicians, financing authors, financing this, how do we inject life, or how do we inject growth into this innovative sector? Because there's so much you can do as Africans if you're able to learn how to take advantage of our culture or harness our culture for economic development. Yeah.
Parting shot, words of encouragement for people watching you.
My parting shot for aspiring founders, other founders, will be a very lazy line I like to use, and at this point I feel like I hope Nike is watching and they should give me an endorsement, but just do it. Just do it. Don't overthink, it's one life. Just do it. Do it. It might not be what you expect it to be, but you'll find the joy in just doing it.
A word of encouragement to fellow founders or guys who are going after their dreams and their passions. What I've realized is that it's not going to come as planned. It's not going to happen overnight, and it's not going to be easy. But eventually, when it happens, it's going to be the most fulfilling thing that you've ever gone through.
To connect with our work and what we're doing, you can find us online at mawuafrica.com. That's MAWU Africa.com. Social media the same, Mawu Africa.